Hey guys, working on geometry trail marker number 3. Remember you have to get an 8, a 9, a 10 to pass. Take a look at the first question. It says, write the equation of a line that is parallel to 2x plus 6y equals 11 and go to the point 9 comma 11. Well, we have 9 comma 11, which is an x and a y value, so we can use those later. But take a look. We need to figure out the slope of 2x plus 6y equals 11. So I'm going to rewrite it in y equals mx plus b form, so we can just figure out what the m is. So subtract 2x from both sides, so I get 6y equals negative 2x plus 11. Divide both sides by 6. So I get y by itself. So y equals negative 2/6 simplifies to negative 1/3 x. And then plus 11/6. Well, that 11/6 looks like it's a tough number to deal with, but remember, all we need is the slope. Okay, so once we have the slope, which is negative 1/3, we can use that slope to solve for b. Since the equation has the same slope, that's what parallel means. So we're going to plug in 9 and 11 in for x and y, and then solve for b. Well, negative 1/3 times 9, so what is 1/3 of 9? 3. And it's got to be negative, because a negative times a positive is a negative. And then I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So I get 14 equals b. My y-intercept is b, and my slope was negative 1/3. So y equals negative 1/3 x plus 14. Question 2, graph this line. Do the same thing. I need to get y by itself, so I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So I get negative 3y equals a positive 2x plus 6. Remember, this negative stays with the 3y. Divide the whole coefficient, so divide by a negative 3 to each term to get the y by itself. So I get negative 2/3 x. 6 divided by negative 3 is a negative 2. Remember, the negative 2 is where I start on the y-axis. And then a slope of negative 2 over 3 is down 2 to the right 1, 2, 3. Down 2 to the right 1, 2, 3. Or if you want to go reverse, you could go up 2, but then left 1, 2, 3, and you'll still get that exact same line. Okay, question 3. Given AB, AC, and DE, and this proportion, find EF. So let's use AB, which is 10, AC, which is the whole thing, which is 15, and then we're also given DE, which is 9. Okay, so we can set up the proportion like it asks for. 10 over 15 is equal to 9 over, well, we don't know what it is, so let's label it as x. Cross multiply. 9 times 15 gives me 135. And 10 times x is 10x. Divide by 10 to both sides. X equals 13.5. Well, you think you're done, but it says EF, so this whole length right here is 13.5. I'm trying to find just this little chunk. So I can take 13.5 and subtract the 9 that I already know, and that's going to give me the chunk that I'm missing, which is 4.5. Question 4. John is 6 feet tall, and he casts a shadow of 18 feet. And if the nearby tree is 21 feet tall, how long is the tree's shadow? So I can do shadow over height equals shadow over height to set up a proportion. Well, the shadow is 18 for John, and his height is 6 feet. And the shadow for the tree is x, and the height is 21. Could you do height over shadow equals height over shadow? Sure, good. So 18 times 21 is 378, and then equals 6x. Divide both sides by 6. It's going to give me 63 feet equals that shadow for the tree. Okay, 3 cheeseburgers, 2 drinks equals $7.10. So this is a system of equations. 3x plus 2y equals 710, and then 2 cheeseburgers and 5 drinks cost 1060. So 2x plus 5y equals 1060. Okay, I'm going to multiply by a number so that I can get the same coefficient for one of the variables. So if you look 3 and 2, if I multiply each one by the opposite of each other, then I will make them meet at the same coefficient. But remember, one's got to be positive, one's got to be negative. So I'm going to make this top one negative. So if I distribute a negative 2 to each term, I get negative 6x minus 4y equals negative 14.20. And if I distribute a 3 to each term, I get positive 6x, which we're looking for, plus 15y, that's a 5, sorry, equals $31.80. Okay, so now I can add down because look how the coefficients line up. Those equal each other out to give me 0. Negative 4 plus 15 is a positive 11y, and then negative 1420 plus 3180 equals 1760. Divide both sides by 11. and we get 1.6. Remember, this is in terms of money, so that's $1.60 for a drink. That sounds about right, because that's what y stands for. And then we can plug it back in to figure out what x is. Take one of the equations. Let's say we're using 3x plus 2y equals 710. I'm going to plug 160 in for y, so I get 3x plus 2 times 1.60 equals 710. 3x plus 2 times 160 is 320. Equals 710. Subtract $3.20 from both sides. So I get 3x equals 3.90. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals $1.30. So we have a cheeseburger, which is $1.30, and a drink, which is $1.60. Okay, let's move this out of the way. Take a look at number 6. We're trying to find the area of a triangle, where the area formula is area equals 1/2 base times height. So we got our base, which is 14, and our height, which is 6, because remember the base and the height have to be perpendicular to each other. If you want to multiply together, you can. 1/2 times 14 is 7, and then it does not affect the 6. Multiply 7 times 6, which is 42. Remember, our units are always going to be the units squared. In this case, it's meters. So 42 meters squared. Is LMN similar to PQR? Well, if you notice, we don't give any angles. We can't use SAS or angle, but we can use side, side, side. Okay? So it's actually not saying is, it's actually giving it to us. So all we need is a scale factor. So we can line up which triangle will tell us, or corresponding side, so we can figure out the scale factor. Well, I'm taking a look at 9 and 6, or 6 and 4, or 12 and 8. And to figure out the scale factor, you take one length, divide by the other. So if I divide 12 divided by 8, it's going to give me 1.5. Or if you want to keep it as a fraction, you could do 3/2. And that's our scale factor. If you take the reciprocal, that's totally fine. It might be 8/12, which would be 2/3, and maybe 0.66 repeating, depending on which triangle you're going from. Supplementary, which means they add up to 180. So I'm going to take angle A, which is 120, and add it to angle B, which is 3x plus 3, and set it equal to 180. If it said complementary, that would be 90, but we're just doing supplementary now. Combine like terms, so I get 123 plus 3x equals 180. Subtract 123 from both sides. So I get 180 minus 123, which is 57. Divide both sides by 3. So I get x equals 19. Find the zeros, x-intercepts, or roots. That means factor. Okay, so I need to find two numbers that multiply to a -4 and add to a +3. Okay, so I'm thinking +4 and -1. Okay, 4 times -1 is -4, and 4 minus 1, which would be 3. So I write those factors as x plus 4, x minus 1 equal to 0, and then I can set each factor equal to 0. So I get x equals -4 and x equals 1. Find the missing side length, round your answer to the nearest hundredth. Well, we have a right triangle, so I'm going to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We know 20 is c squared because it's across from the hypotenuse, and it doesn't matter which one is a squared. Okay, so if you switched a and b, that's totally fine. 12 squared is 144. Plus x squared equals 400. Subtract 144 from both sides. I get x squared equals 256. Square root both sides. And we get x equals 16. Now if this was an equation that just said x equals 256 and you square root both sides, you should get two answers. But because this represents a side length, we only deal with the positive answer, which is positive 16. Okay, guys, take a look at everything. I know it's a lot, but you guys can do this. All you need is an 8, a 9, or 10 to pass. Good luck.